This is Johnny and Jose with TigerBomb MMA, and tonight we'll be going over UFC Fight Night Volkov versus Aspinall, giving you our thoughts, predictions, possible parlays. This is our second time recording this. The first time went to shit, so we're going to unfortunately go as fast as we can, give you our thoughts and predictions, just that way we can do it together. We're not going to have enough time to do it together. So before we get started with this particular card, we just finished up Ankalaev versus Magomed versus Santos. And just a couple thoughts. Thank God for Mirzakhanov getting that knockout in the third round. Bless him. Montinho didn't blow his wad. He did exactly what Canetti wanted him to do, and that's essentially leave himself open for one round. He couldn't. He pulled a stunt essentially. Lumgambulia pulled a fucking stunt. Miranda Maverick did exactly what she needed to do. Kamuela Kirk kind of looked like a fraud out there. Bashrat looked fantastic. Robertson and JJ Aldrich. I'm not surprised with that one. Julian Robertson kind of sucks, but anytime I pick her to win, I never put money on her, but anytime I pick her to win, she ends up losing. Actually, funny enough, getting dominated. Samuelsberger pulled out that gritty decision. Pereira versus Bruno Silva. I initially said that if it went to a decision, I'd have to cut my balls off. I'm counting that as a standing TKO for Pereira in the third round because you know what? It is what it is. Bruno Silva did fall to the ground at the end of the fight, so that's a standing TKO in my book. Terrence McKinney, he blew his wad. He pulled a massive stunt there. Not much to say. Drew Dober, I tweeted this out. That Drew Dober chin should be illegal in the UFC. Should not be allowed. It's too good. What is it? Khalil Roundtree destroyed Carl Robertson. That's another guy who I thought was going to win. Robertson as an underdog, it didn't pan out. Dude's a monster, that Khalil Roundtree. Yusuf pulled off the decision, looked fantastic. Had a bit of issue with Cruceros in the southpaw, but it is what it is. Yadong knocks out Marlon Moraes. Marlon Moraes did not do what I think he should have done, which is wrestle, and he got knocked out. He fed him his supper cut, and he ate all of it. And finally, Ankalaev went to a decision by beating Thiago Santos. That was it was a stinker. So it is what it is. End of the night, I was 8-6 with predictions. A couple little fucky things out there, so you can't really predict those things when people pull stunts. Overall, I'm 66-32 with my picks, so it's not too bad. But let's get started with the main card, the Europe card, the O2 Arena card. And currently we have at bantamweight Nathaniel Wood versus Vince Morales. I'm trying to get through this as fast as I can. I'm stumbling. Nathaniel Wood, Vince Morales. Currently the odds have it in favor of Nathaniel Wood, minus 240. Come back on Morales is plus 205. Sorry. I like Nathaniel Wood here. I like him as a parlay piece. I think he's just too good. I thought he won his fight with Casey Kenny at least 29-28. Some fuckery going on there with the scorecards. He fights long. He throws a lot of leg kicks multiple times. I think he's defensively sound. He's just too good. I think he beats him by decision. Vince Morales is tough. It's just that he doesn't do enough in there, and I think he's going to get completely outworked by Nathaniel Wood. I will say potentially Nathaniel Wood by a decision automatically, just to get started throughout the entire card. Any European fighter, the scorecards are already 10-9 in their favor, so keep that in mind when we talk about these guys. Nathaniel Wood's walking in here already with a 10-9. Vince Morales is going to have to take that from him. I don't think he will be able to. Nathaniel Wood by a decision.
Yeah, I'm taking Wood here just for a couple reasons. One, it's his hometown for sure, so the fans and the judges and everybody's going to be behind him. And short of second reason is I don't think Vince is going to outwork him, submit him, or knock him out. So that being the case, even if they throw the same amount of punches, the same amount of kicks, same amount of takedowns, they're going to give it to Wood. So Vince is going to have to, do twice as much just to edge him out. I feel he's not going to be able to do that. So I'm just going to go with Wood for let's see, what did I say before? Decision. Yes.
Next bout at 155, Ilya Topuria versus Jai Herbert. Currently, the odds are inflated in the favor of Ilya Topuria. You can see him roughly around minus 400, minus 340, depending on where you're going. And come back on Herbert is plus 265. get sweetened to the point. Topuria should win this one, but he is at a huge disadvantage here with the height and reach. He's moving up to 155 after a miss weight at 145 when he was supposed to fight Charles Jourdain. Didn't work out for him. Technically, I'll consider that a loss, according to him. And Jai Herbert, the guy's a good black country banger. He's going to be swinging for the fences. Good movement on the outside. And Topuria is going to have to, go on the inside and try to work the body, attack the liver, and try to go for takedowns, try to choke him out. His best bet is to choke out or possibly even knock out Jai Herbert, which I think Ilya can do. It's a really, really tough spot for Ilya. I think it's going to be a much more difficult fight for him, being that it's up at a weight class against a fucking giant. I think he can do it. I just don't feel incredibly confident in him enough to place a bet on him. I might hedge this one out and actually place a bet on Jai Herbert at those odds. I can see him throwing a flying knee or something and catching Ilya when he's ducking for a takedown. I do think Ilya is the much better fighter, but sometimes that height and reach advantage could just really destroy a fighter who's much better. I've seen it happen time and time again. The much better fighter just gets beat by the pretty decent fighter just because they have that one skill set of staying on the outside, being long. So Jai Herbert by possible knockout or just straight, I think is a good bet. But I'll go with Topuria regardless. I just think he's a very smart guy. He should be better hydrated. He should have more power in those punches. And I can even see him knocking out Jai Herbert with a beautiful, nasty liver shot. I'm very iffy on this one, but I'll go Topuria by I want to say he has to finish him to win. So I'll say maybe a second round submission.
I agree. I'm going with Topuria just because I think he's the most complete fighter. Yeah, he's going to be a little bit stumpy in this fight, but I think he's going to be quicker. As you mentioned, he's going to be better hydrated. He just is an overall better mixed martial artist. That isn't to say Jai Herbert isn't. I think maybe Jai Herbert is a little bit crisper on his feet, but as far as a mixed martial artist, you got to give it the edge to Topuria. He's if it goes to the ground, it's more than likely either going to end for Herbert or going to secure the round for Topuria. Either way, I think Topuria takes this. This is probably going to be one of the I think the odds are crazy. I mean, it should be like minus 200. Minus 400, I think it says something around the lines of Topuria is going to dominate from either bell to bell, all 3 rounds, or just beat his ass fairly easily, either knock him out or submit him, which you can do, but that size discrepancy is a little bit worrying. However, not to make this, not to overblow this, I'm sticking with Topuria. Although the odds make it a little, even though I do believe he's going to win, sometimes you have to look at the odds before betting, and if the odds just aren't really it's too much juice. You know what I mean? It's not really worth betting sometimes, even though, you think somebody's going to win. So there's that to take into consideration, not just the pick. But yeah. So
if you see me catch me looking off to the side, I'm watching Mads Burnell versus Adam Borix right now. So I need Mads Burnell bad, and he looks like he's pouring it on Borix real bad. But moving on, at bantamweight, we've got Jack Shore versus Timur Valiev. Currently, the odds have it in favor of. Let's take a look where the fucking odds are. Here we go. At minus 155, Valiev come back on Jack Shore's plus 135. I like this matchup. Essentially, they're both very well-rounded, but essentially striker versus grappler. Jack Shore, I like this kid. The guy is perfect in there. He's very technically sound. He's very young, but he's just above his years in intelligence and in the fight IQ. Perfect 15-0 comeback on Timur Valiev. Hasn't officially lost in the UFC because he got overturned that knockout by Trevin Jones for, whatever. But I like this one. I honestly think this one goes to a decision. I think it will go over 2.5, which is what I'm really leaning on. Seeing that Jack Shore is coming in here from Wales, he should automatically have a 10-9 on that scorecard. I like this one. It's really I don't know how good Timur Valiev's takedown defense is going to be. And I don't think he's the tougher guy. He's a bit chinny, although he's very excellent with the kicks, a lot of volume. He out-volumed Hayoni Barcelos. But looking back now, maybe Hayoni was done at that point. And even Hayoni nearly knocked him out basically twice in that fight. And for Jack Shore, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Comeback for Timur Valiev, he's a brown belt. I'm not sold on Timur Valiev, but I think he can win this one by a decision. I'm not picking him to win by decision. I'm going by decision Jack Shore. If I do end up making an official bet, it'll be Jack Shore by decision. More than likely, I'll go with the over. I think it does go decision, hometown decision for Jack Shore. I think he's going to use his wrestling. Timur Valiev's takedown defense isn't all that great. A very exhausted and beat up Trevin Jones was able to take him down after Valiev basically ran a train on him. So I go with Jack Shore. The dude attempts a shit ton of takedowns, about 36 overall in his UFC career, and he lands 4. But when he lands them, they're very, very effective. I'll say he keeps ground control. He's very, very good. Being that he's going to be the bigger guy, I think he'll tire out the very, I guess, conditioned Timur Valiev, and he'll edge this out by a decision. But I wouldn't be surprised if Timur pulls it off as well. So I'm very iffy on this one, about 50-50, but I'll go Jack Shore decision.
I'm also going with Jack Shore. I think the odds indicate this is going to be a very close fight. But I think for one reason or another, they made Timur the favorite, which is weird to me. I think maybe they just want to pull, some bets his way, just because I think anybody who knows even a little bit about these two guys is going to maybe lean more toward Jack Shore because, he's from Wales, this is in London. So there's that. But anyway, I think Jack Shore, I think the ground game, he's going to be a little bit better than Timur. I think he's going to be a little bit better on the feet. So I think he's going to edge out a decision here. That's what I'm seeing. So I think the over 1.5 rounds, at least I hope it's 1.5. I hope they'll make it 2.5, is a pretty good bet, I believe. So I'll go with Jack Shore by decision, at the very least, going over that 1.5 rounds.
Next bout at, what was it? Not flyweight, strawweight. We've got Elise Reed versus Corey McKenna. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Corey McKenna, minus 235. Comeback on Elise Reed is a plus 195. And for this one, I'll be upfront. I'm going with Elise Reed. I'm going with the dog. I like what I've seen from her. She actually beat Jasmine Jasudavicius back in the day at strawweight, which is surprising. Like, I know we can joke about her sucking on the ground. I think she sucks when it comes to the takedown defense, but her grappling's not terrible. I've seen her reverse. I've seen her defend at triangles and all this type of shit. So she's not bad. I like Corey McKenna as well, training out of Team Alpha Male. I think she's got the grappling advantages there when it comes to the takedowns. Her hands aren't too bad either. And I just think that Elise Reed, being that she's fighting a girl her own size, opposed to the last time where she came into the UFC and she fought Sarge Eubanks at featherweight, or not featherweight, flyweight, it's a much favorable matchup for her. She's going to be desperate to really show what she can do in the UFC. I like what she has to offer, Taekwondo background, and I think she can edge this one out. I think she can get the decision against Corey McKenna, actually do enough to steal the hometown decision away from McKenna. So I'll go with Elise Reed as a dog to win this one by a decision.
I'm actually sticking with Corey McKenna on this one by decision. It's women's MMA. It's most likely going to end in decision. I don't think Elise Reed's going to be able to do enough to get that decision. She did lose to Jar Banks by KO in 7 months, but I don't know if that's going to help her. I don't think Elise Reed is meant to be in the UFC all that long. Not to say that Corey McKenna is, but I think this is going to be Corey's night to shine. This is going to be, I don't know necessarily homecoming for her, but I think, over at Team Alpha Midget, they've conditioned her hopefully well enough to, at the very least, block any, get her ground game defense up to par to block Elise Reed's sloppy takedown attempts and whatnot. So I'll stick with Corey. She looks a little bit more wholesome. So yeah, that'll be my main the main reason for me picking her wholesomeness by decision.
Next bout at featherweight, Mike Grundy versus McCann Amirkhani. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Mike Grundy. Pretty good odds, minus 135. Comeback on Amirkhani, plus 115. And short and simple, I think Mike Grundy beats this one just by being the better, more conditioned fighter. McCann just recently got knocked out by Lerone Murphy. What was it, 4 months ago? Exactly. Mike Grundy, I think overall the wrestling's going to negate itself. And even if it doesn't, even if McCann has success with takedowns, I think Grundy has a much better cardio. McCann Amirkhani, I wrote down here, excellent wrestler. Excellent wrestler for one round, great chokes for one round, gas and cardio management issues, been knocked out cold recently, OWT out cold. Grundy, I think he's tougher. I think he hits harder. I think he catches Amirkhani, drops him, finishes him in the second round. It's more so a fade on Amirkhani. I think Grundy, again, at 35 years old, he has just way more power. He's going to be the shorter guy, so when he's throwing those overhands, they're going to land right on the chin of Amirkhani, and it's going to hurt him. Recently, having his brain scrambled, it's not going to be a good look. Mike Grundy by a second round TKO.
I'm sticking with Grundy as well, and that's just because I've been watching some DC, some DC stuff. With is it Grundy? Yeah,
Solomon Grundy
on there, Solomon Grundy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm basing my pick just based on the character that I've seen quite a few times. So I take that as an omen or a sign. You know what I mean? So I'm going with my gut and just following all the signs I've been seeing in DC shows.
Moving on at flyweight, the debut of this little dynamo here, Muhammad Mokaev versus Cody Durden. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Mokaev. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It sounds like I'm saying Mokaev. Minus 330. Comeback on Durden is a plus 270. I can go on and on about this guy. He is a combined amateur and pro record of like 28-0, Dagestan and British combined. Hot prospect, great wrestling, good striking, lots of experience, but not a whole ton of pro experience. There's not a whole ton not to like about Muhammad Mokaev. And Cody Durden, he's a tough wrestler. I just don't see him having the game to beat the young up-and-comer. The only thing I can see him doing is maybe I don't know, having like a vet lesson moment here against Mokaev, where essentially think of what's his name, Tim Elliott versus that other asshole who I won't say his name. If he grabs the glove and cheats, he can kind of teach this guy a bit of a lesson. It's possible. I don't see that happening. I think Mokaev, this fight is pretty good for him to display his skill set, and I think he's going to eventually take Durden's back, dump him on all fours, and take the neck. So I've got Mokaev second round submission. I wish I can say more about the guy, but honestly, I can do an entire show based on the background of Mokaev. He seems to be like a complete package, training since he was a kid, very determined, very, very ambitious, and very motivated to win. So I've got him to win by a second round submission.
Yeah, the more I look at Mokaev, I'm not going to say his first name because I don't want anybody coming after us for, what is it called? Being heathens and whatnot. Yeah, he seems like, to me, he seems like a kid, like a super young Khabib, to a certain extent. He's going to, it's going to take maybe 5 or 6 fights for him to really establish himself, but he looks like a very, like a younger version of Khabib. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt and is out for, years on end like Khabib was. But there is a possibility of Cody Durden, like you were mentioning, big brothering him, like sometimes happens. These prospects come in and, it's just the jump, in level of experience, between where they fought and coming into the UFC with a guy who's had at least, 1 or 2 fights. But the Cody Durden's resume isn't all that great, even in the UFC. He's 1-1-1, which is crazy in his first 3 fights. So yeah, I mean, I'll hop on the Mokaev train. He's one of these, similar to Paddy Pimblett. These really young guys who are looking to make a name for themselves, and I think he's pretty much set to make it against Durden. So I'll take him by maybe second round rear naked choke.
Next bout at flyweight, I'll keep this one quick. Molly McCann versus Luana Carolina. Molly McCann's getting the hometown decision. She pushes forward a lot. She's very gritty in there. Luana's very not good. I'll say that. I'll read the odds. Where the hell are they? Minus 130 for McCann. I like that. Plus 110 for Carolina. Essentially Muay Thai of Carolina versus the gritty boxing of Molly McCann. This is the fight before the main card begins, so you do know that the entire crowd's going to be ballistic. Molly McCann will whiff a punch, and the entire crowd's going to go, yeah. That's going to count for something in the judge's eyes. She is going to just push forward, get beat up, bloodied, and she's still going to win that hometown decision. So I've got McCann by decision to beat the taller, dread Carolina. So Molly McCann meatballs her way to a decision.
Yeah, I think Meatball's going to get the decision. It's going to take, like double, triple the work for Luana to get the nod here. I don't think anybody's knocking anybody out. I don't think anybody's getting submitted. So this is going to be a decision. It's women's MMA. I don't know. This is probably a good time to step away, go fill up on drinks, food, whatnot. I don't think you're going to miss much.
And it looks like I'm about to lose a parlay with Matt Burnell not looking so hot. But before we begin the main card, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, follow the Discord, Instagram, Twitter, do all that crap. Name today, Ratlip Chimaev. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a busted lip here. I actually split it open, pretty gnarly. And it's healing up pretty fast. I didn't need stitches. Luckily, it was pretty fucking bad. But, I'm a tough bastard. This is the second time I've got a cut on the lip. The other one's over here. But again, I've healed like a motherfucker. So give me some love in the comment section. Give me some love in the like button. So do all that. But let's begin the main card. Short notice bout at welterweight. Gunnar Nelson making his comeback against Takashi Sato. Was supposed to be fighting some guy. I can't remember who he was fighting. Let me look it up before I start talking. That old Brazilian. What's his name? I always forget his name. Claudio Silva, and pulled out. Now we have Takashi Sato in here. Currently, the odds have it in favor. I'm assuming Gunnar Nelson. Yep, Gunnar Nelson minus 350. Come back on Sato plus 185. Not much to say. I like what I've seen from Gunnar Nelson on Instagram. Looks like he's taking this camp very seriously, making a good comeback. He's always been undersized for the division, but he's very skilled. He's a bit chinny, but he's got great karate. He's got very good black belt jiu-jitsu under his belt. Takashi Sato is known to get submitted, and he's not very good when it comes to the takedown defense or really the submission defense. Bilal Muhammad got the rear naked choke, and Caramel Thunder got an arm triangle. I got Gunnar Nelson to get a submission, probably round number 1 or round number 2, rear naked choke. Chokes out Takashi Sato. As long as Nelson doesn't get knocked out, because Sato hits fucking hard. He's a very good striker, training out of Sanford MMA. He should win this fight by a submission. So I've got Gunnar Nelson by I'll go second round submission. He'll clear out the cobwebs and the ring rust, and then eventually get him down, dominate, get the rear naked choke.
Yeah, this is definitely Gunnar Nelson's fight. Now, Sato did lose last time around to Baeza, and he lost previously to Muhammad. Gunnar Nelson, I think, is better than both of those. So just based off of that, I think he is set to turn his 2-fight losing streak around. It's been more than 2 years since he fought, so it's gonna like you said, he's gonna need to shake off the cobwebs in the first and second round. But I think he's gonna come at him in the third round and probably, I'll say, get a submission, probably a rear naked choke. He's gonna take his back and just get in the third.
All right, next bout at light heavyweight. Let me switch the card over. We've got Nikita Krylov versus Paul Craig. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Krylov by -175. Comeback on Craig is at +145. Craig's been very much improving his stand-up, and Krylov, he's always had the stand-up karate background. He's got solid jiu-jitsu as well. The interesting thing about Krylov is that if you look at his 3 losses, his losses are to the former champion John Blachowicz, the current champion Glover Teixeira, and the possibly soon-to-be future champion Magomed Ankalaev. Let me watch this decision to see if Matt Burnell lost. 1 second. Fuck, he did lose, that piece of shit. Anyways, Bear Jew Paul Craig, excellent ground game, very dangerous as we've seen before. Not really much I can say other than watch out for your fucking arm against the Bear Jew. He has a great overhook on the arm, man. Jamal Hill found that out the hard way, and it's hard to really pick this one because I think Paul Craig, he's improving, and I think I can see Nikita Krylov losing this one if it gets extended. His gas tank kind of fails him. And the thing about Paul Craig is that no matter what, if he's still alive and still walking forward, he's incredibly dangerous. But I actually think Nikita is going to catch him with like a head kick in the first round. He's too fast in the first round, and he's just very sneaky. I think it's a very close fight. I would have wished Krylov was the underdog because, Paul Craig just finishing a fucking fantastic fighter in Jamal Hill. I thought that was going to juice up his line. But unfortunately not. I will go with the minor Nikita Krylov to get I want to say first round head kick knockout. I mean, I'm putting a lot of stock in the losses of Krylov because they've been 2 elite fighters, and he actually took a round from Ankalaev. So I'll go with Magomed. Oh my God, I'll go with Krylov, who beat Magomed in the first round of their fight to knock out Paul Craig in the first round.
I'm going to stick with Craig. I think he's going to catch him in the 3rd round. I think it's going to go past. This is probably going to go over. I don't think Krylov has it. He's not. I thought he was older. Maybe I was thinking of somebody else, but he's only 29. But I think he doesn't have it over there. I think he's over the hill.
Wait, Krylov? Whoa.
Yeah.
Hot take.
I think Krylov is. We might as well name him Bobby Hill at this point. But I think Paul Craig, he's going to catch him in the 3rd round. I see him. I see Krylov maybe getting him against the fence, taking Paul Craig down. Craig's going to be on his back, and then boom, he's going to hit him with a triangle, and maybe he gets out of that. But then boom, he's going to switch over to an armbar, and then if he manages to get out of that, then he's going to get his back and then get a rear naked choke. So I don't see any chance for Krylov on the ground. The Bear Jew's got to, if what I just described, comes true, that's because I've been watching some Bear Jew tape, and Bear Jew tape states that Bear Jew's going to, go for some chain submissions. So Krylov has got 0 chance once this gets to the ground.
I absolutely disagree. I think Krylov's pretty good on the ground, just not elite. I think Paul Craig is pretty elite off of his back. He's super dangerous. But if Shogun, who's washed up, could survive the bottom game of Paul Craig, I think Nikita Krylov, who I don't think is washed up, can survive. But we'll move on to our next fight. Fantastic fight. At lightweight, we've got Paddy the Batty Pimblett versus Kazula Vargas. As I said in the first video, Kazula is Spanish translated into pendejo, and pendejo is Spanish for, well, I guess you can figure that out. Vargas, I think this fight is essentially here just for Paddy Pimblett to get the crowd riled up with a spectacular finish. He is nearly 37 years old. He's incredibly slow. He's going to be the smaller guy in there. Paddy Pimblett, he leaves his chin up in the air, and that's concerning, but his striking is getting better. His jiu-jitsu is pretty damn good. He's very good everywhere when it comes to the ground. He's very good at flowing either off of your back, from mount, all that shit. He's did I mention he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu? Yeah, he's good at that. What did I say? Let me read my notes here. Yeah, this is Paddy's fight to lose at those odds. I don't even know if I mentioned the odds. I was too excited about this one since I have a parlay that cashes when Paddy the Batty wins this fight. So I think you know where I'm going with this one. -425 for Paddy. Comeback on Vargas is a plus 305. I've got Paddy Pimblett on this one. I think he's going to be too fast. He's going to be better than Vargas everywhere. He has to mind his P's and Q's because if Kazula Vargas throws one of those very slow left high kicks, which they're pretty good, but he's just so fucking slow. And even his wins in the UFC aren't very impressive. I've just never been impressed with this guy. He beat Zhu Rong, which I think is going to be his biggest hurrah. But Zhu Rong, as we noticed, he's kind of a moron. So I don't think Paddy's that big of a moron. I think he leaves his chin exposed, but I think he's just going to be overwhelming Kazula Vargas. Vargas getting older, although he's a tough Mexican guy, I think he's going to get cracked. And I think Paddy Pimblett's going to get the submission, probably a rear naked choke in the second round. So I've got Paddy Pimblett to cash me out, bitch, in the second round with the submission against Kazula Vargas.
I think this isn't going past the first round. I think Paddy's going to, take a page out of Brunson's barrage and barrage. Okay, that didn't come out right. He's going to take a page out of Brunson's book and bring his own barrage. All right, I guess I should have thought that. Anyway, so he's going to overwhelm Vargas. He's probably going to TKO him in the first round. Vargas is probably going to want to swing back, try to meet him in the middle of the octagon or wherever they are. But I think Paddy's a little bit bit sharper. Yeah, Paddy. Yeah, it just sounds like Patty, like Patty, like Patricia. Patty. Anyway,
well, he's got the hair for it, so
yeah. Funny enough, that's what my hair looks like at the moment. Yeah, I'm getting a haircut next week, so
the Owen Hart hair.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Paddy's going to overwhelm him. I think he's going to get the TKO in the first round. I think he's going to just hit him square probably in the temple, the chin, in one of their, in some wild exchange, and Vargas is just going to go down like a week-old Manila.
Next bout at heavyweight, we've got Shamil Abdurakhimov versus Sergey Pavlovich. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Pavlovich, minus 300. Come back on Abdurakhimov, plus 250. I'll just say this. I think Shamil's live for this one. He was looking pretty good against Dawkins. I think he was winning the round before he got, cold cocked and then put on the ground on his ass. I mean, the guy is deceptively strong, deceptively fast. He throws his hooks incredibly quickly, and the man can crack, man. I don't think this one's going to go the distance. But the thing about Sergey, the reason why I'm a bit hesitant to say he's going to win easily in the first round is because he has not fought in about 2 years, 2 years, 3 months to be exact. Last knocked out Maurice Green, and the guy, he is a marauder, man. When he has you hurt, he will bum rush you and get you out of there. And I think he can do that against Shamil. It's just that he's had visa issues. He hasn't been able to fight. And this is the first time he's going to take a fight. And he's taking a fight against a guy, although he's been knocked out recently, pretty badly, that is. He's still experienced enough. And I think if it gets pushed down in the later rounds, Shamil can edge out a decision or even ground and pound Pavlovich, who has been beat by ground and pound by Alistair Overeem. He's going to have the significant reach advantage and actually not even the height advantage. He's got an 84-inch reach compared to Abdurakhimov, a 76. Abdurakhimov does close distance very well with that leaping left hook, so he has to be really careful. I'll still have to go with Pavlovich, being that he's 29 years old. 2 years off really isn't going to hurt him that bad. And I mean, I've seen guys like that Mountain dude come back, and he knocked out that asshole who's fighting in Ego FC, the Mad Titan. Can't remember his name, Jorgen De Castro. So if that dude who's like 40 some years old can come back, I think Sergey can come back. So I'll go with Pavlovich just by being more Aryan of a Russian. So he knocks out Abdurakhimov in the first round.
I'm actually going with the true Russian Bear Drew in Shamil. I think they're both fighting for Russia, but I think, I don't know. I don't know if the Aryan Brotherhoods.
Well, I don't think Abdurakhimov would appreciate you calling him a bear.
Well, I think he has 40 years old or not. I think he has better hands. He did show it against Dawkins. He just let up a little bit. I think he got a little too comfortable. But man, he showed he had. I was surprised. I don't think I had anything going on in that fight, but I was really like, what the heck? You know, is he really going to beat Dawkins? That was crazy. But yeah, I think here he's going to surprise a lot of people as well. And so yeah, I'll go with him. I'll actually take him. I don't know if he'll be able to knock him out. You know what? I will say he will knock him out. I'll take him by second round KO.
I mean,
Shamil, that is.
I like that mainly if it goes past the first round. I think you can use his grappling, take him down, and just beat his ass with Donkey Kong punches. So might be
I
worth a
think
shot.
I think at that point he's just going to overwhelm him by rubbing his chest all over his face, and then he'll probably tap out due to face, chest to face hair submission.
Our next bout and co-main event, I think, based on the UFC website, Paddy Pimblett is now the co-main, but I don't accept that. Co-main event, Arnold Allen versus Dan Hooker. As you can see, no bad pictures of them. I respect both of these assholes quite a lot. Dan Hooker being the pseudo-legendary Pokemon fighter, not quite an Articuno, not quite a Entei, but more of a, I don't know, I'll say like an Arcanine. He's a pseudo-legendary type of fighter. Always down for a fight. Excellent fighter. Moving back down to featherweight, which is it's a bit concerning. But he's done test weight cuts, and I guess he's going to make weight, so we'll see. And currently the odds have it in favor of Dan Hooker. It kind of fluctuates. You can get it at an even minus 115, minus 115 for each, or a plus 100 for Allen, or minus 120 for Dan Hooker, depending on where you go. But this is an interesting bout. I'll probably spend more time talking about this one than any other fight. Arnold Allen, I think he's technically solid everywhere, man. He's super good. The fight against him, and Yusuf, he showed a lot of intelligence in there. He was able to crack Yusuf with a sneaky high kick and a very beautiful, hard left hand. And I think he's so good on the outside. He's very good with his movement. Again, very deceptively clean with his technique. And I just think this might be one of the toughest tests for Arnold Allen, who's been essentially unblemished in the UFC. I think he's only lost one fight, and he's 17-1 compared to the extensive record of Dan Hooker, who is 21-11, 21-11, and he's going to be at a significant height and reach disadvantage by 4 inches in height disadvantage and 5.5 inches disadvantage in reach. Essentially, City Kickboxing versus TriStar Gym. I had a lot of trouble breaking this one down, and the more I thought about it, it came down to like, why am I spending so much time thinking about what could happen and what can happen? Am I focusing too much on Dan Hooker's, gas tank being affected, or his chin being affected, dropping back down to 145? If the man says he can do it, I think he can do it. And Arnold Allen, like, everything points logically. I think Dan Hooker being the tougher guy, the tougher schedule, fighting much better competition, should come in here and teach Arnold Allen a lesson, really, because it's essentially, what did I write down here? It's a spot where Hooker can be the bully, and he's essentially the senior bullying the junior in high school. And I think that's a possibility. But the one thing I kept thinking about is, like, I think Arnold Allen, I don't think he's going to take that. I don't think he's that dumb. His high fight IQ is fantastic, and I think he can edge out this decision. I think it will go over, and I think it will go to a decision. Whether it leans the favor of Dan Hooker, it's possible based on Hooker just doing a bit more damage. But I think Arnold Allen is going to essentially pull off one of the greatest point fights of all time. I think he's going to stay on the outside. He's got excellent movement on the outside. He darts in and out. He's very, very sneaky, and I feel like he's going to completely outpoint Dan Hooker. Not to say that Dan Hooker's not going to try to win this fight. The guy's fantastic. He's going to put it on Arnold Allen, but I think Arnold Allen's going to be too fast for Dan Hooker. The reason I don't like Dan Hooker at featherweight is because he's super slow down there compared to at 155. he's not fast there either, but he's better there. Like the speed disadvantage isn't as notable. And looking back at his fights, it's just like, man, he's lost to dudes he should not have lost to, like Jason Knight. He should not have lost to Jason Knight. And I think Arnold Allen is going to put on a masterclass and edge out this decision. It's not going to be easy, but I think he's going to do that. I'm going to put a bet on him. As much as it pains me, I think Dan Hooker can win this one. I mean, I love Dan Hooker. The moment I saw him elbow the shit out of Ian Entwistle when he had him in a heel hook position and just started bashing his head in, I'm like, this is the guy for me. I would like to see him win. I would even accept me losing money, my bet on Arnold Allen to see Dan Hooker win violently, but I just don't think he is going to be able to do so. I'd love to see it, as I mentioned, but I'll go with Arnold Allen with a hometown decision, edging out Dan Hooker in this co-main.
I agree. The way I look at it is Dan Hooker, I don't think this is the right move for him. The right move isn't, to deplete yourself and hopefully get a shot in a lower weight class, because he is huge at 6 feet. This could very well be a welterweight. So depleting himself even more to go after these, who I think is more of a natural featherweight in Allen, I don't think is the move. I think he's going to stumble here. He's going to go for a second loss in a row. Yeah, they're going to ship him back to Prison Island. Oh, no, wait, that's Australia. So what the hell is New Zealand?
Same shit, apparently.
Oh, well.
Hey, don't piss off our Aussie friends and our European allies out there.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, today I found out there's in the Discord, at least to my knowledge, there's no Americans in the Discord. We've got Greeks, we've got Aussies, and we've got Slovakians. So far, I guess I'm the only American there. So,
yeah. Well, not for long, man. I'm looking at Canadian citizenship and what the requirements are.
Oh shit! I don't know if you want to go up to Canada either.
Yeah, well, I mean, the better health care, less hobos, less, whatever the vagrants are taking on the streets here now. Maybe it's just California. California's
a shithole, dude. You got to move out to the Midwest.
Yeah,
or Florida. Florida's a fucking haven of magic and loveliness and freedom.
I don't want to have to deal with it. Well, the thing that I was told about Florida, unless we have any Florida listeners, you can confirm this, but the Florida that the media tries to kind of push out and is like just the bottom portion. It's like the tip. You know what I mean? So the tip is the best part.
You get real rapey when you go higher up in the fucking state.
when you start to go, beyond like what is that spring break spot? Daytona or something.
Daytona Beach is
or Fort Lauderdale or wherever. It's like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like all the gas station attendants that are sitting in their rocking chairs. You're gonna start to hear a lot of your lips are looking real pretty there, boy. Or whatever they say nowadays. I don't know if that's the lingo that they use.
They use a different word that is emphasized with ER.
Yeah. So, I don't know what I was. I don't know where I took that turn from. But I'm going with Allen here. He's the hometown favorite. I think this is a bad move for Hooker. I think he should have. I think he should have toughed it out at 155. I think the speed difference. He's gonna be weaker noticeably, and at 6 foot frame at 145. I don't know if that's the healthiest thing to do either. So I'm going with Allen here. Probably not a good first fight back at 145 for him. But it's gonna sure as hell be pretty loud crowd. They're pretty excited for him. So let's go with Allen.
Main event of the evening, we've got Alexander Drago Volkov versus Tom. Motherfucker needs a nickname, Aspinall. And someone put it, I think Tatooine Dream put it, that Tom Aspinall has a dream catcher tattoo on him. I've never seen it, but I just thought that was really fucking funny, so we should probably fade Aspinall. But currently the odds are pretty damn even. Depending on where you go, you might be able to get plus money. Plus money on Alexander Volkov. Let's go with that. The odds are essentially -110, but bet online -120 for Aspinall. Come back on Volkov is +100. Ooh, this one is. I'll be honest. When I first heard of it, I'm like, "Oh shit! I think Tom Aspinall is going to get his first UFC loss. Oh no, he's fighting a guy who's much better. He's fought the better competition." And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "Are you fucking stupid?" Like sometimes you look at those records, 34-9 compared to the 11-2. And you're like, okay, yeah, you know what? Vet lesson time. Tom Aspinall, he's looked great, but he hasn't fought anybody really of note. But then you tell yourself that because you want to make money on the established guy. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Tom Aspinall is really trending upward at an accelerated pace after this fight because he's done everything right. He's fought guys like let's start off. Jake Collier knocked him out, and Jake Collier's not a scrub. I think he's proven that. Alan Badeau did exactly what you do to Alan Badeau, knock him out in the first round. Andrei Arlovsky, he submitted Andrei Arlovsky, took him down, blast double, get the neck, choked him out. And then he knocked out Sergey Spivak. And we know how good Spivak can be, especially after he ragdolled that fucking 300 and some pound ragamuffin. The thing about the Drago is that his last fight really, I think, in my opinion, exposed him for being too old and he has taken too many shots. He's just no longer the same fighter. I will say this one thing. Keep in mind, Volkov at heavyweight, he's kind of fluctuated in weight. He got not ragdolled. He got, what's the word I'm trying to think about him and Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades, not ragdolled him because he didn't ragdoll him. He wrestle fucked Volkov. And that's Volkov at 100 or 240 some pounds. He gained some weight. He's now essentially 260 or so, 265. After that, he was looking great, putting power in his punches. And then when he got to a certain level of fighter, Cyril Gahn and such, it completely backfired on him. He was too slow. Aspinall's very fast. He's about 240, 250 pounds. Hands are very fast. He's just as big as Volkov. He's 6'5" compared to the 6'7" of Volkov. And Volkov has issues with big, strong dudes, just like, for example, with Marcin Tybura. That fight against Tybura really showed me that Volkov might be completely done. And I think Aspinall fighting at home, as long as the jitters don't get to him, he's going to put on a masterclass, box the fucking ears out of Volkov, maybe get him out of there. I don't think he's going to try to take him down. It might be a complete striking battle, which is why I kept thinking maybe Volkov has a chance to win here. That speed difference is going to be massive. So I'll go with Tom Aspinall to actually get a late round TKO, maybe third, fourth, or fifth. He's just going to blast Volkov with something he's not seeing, and it's going to leave everyone happy in the crowd, and we're going to get a huge fucking. What would be the equivalent of a shoey for the Europeans for England? I don't know.
I guess making a hole in a 12-inch black dildo.
No,
and then using that as a funnel.
This isn't France, dude. This is England. But yeah, he's
going
to do
European. It falls under European. So
what would be England? Fuck it. He's gonna do the equivalent of the English shoey, and he's just gonna rock the crowd. So I will go with Tom Aspinall to win by a third round TKO. I think he's just going to be too fast, too good, and just got to watch himself against Volkov. Maybe watch the scales with Volkov if he comes down lighter. Be a bit more cautious. But if he comes in heavy, like he probably will come in, I think Aspinall all day outspeed the man.
Wait, to go back to something you said as long as the Jews don't get to him.
What?
Yeah, you said something along the lines of you were saying something. I mean, we'd have to go back and listen to the recording maybe 2-3 minutes ago. But I could have sworn I heard you say as long as the Jews don't get to him. I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's talking about Drago.
No, the jitters.
Oh, jitters. I heard Jews. I was like, man. Well, I was thinking like, well, I guess they better up their security.
Oh shit. Oh no. The UFC jitters in the hometown crowd, as long as those don't get to him.
Oh, I see. Because I was like, oh man, they gotta I guess they got to really frisk everybody on the way in, all in the crowd and everything.
Oh shit.
But yeah, so here, as we've spoken before about Volkov, he has, looking at his record, he has pretty big, he has pretty big issues with big black dudes, and there's nobody bigger or blacker than Tom Aspinall on this card. So I don't see him. He's only, Drago's only 33, but he's been fighting for a long time, kickboxing and whatnot. And I think he's past his prime already. Even though, heavyweights, they're known to reach their prime later on, once they get old man strength. But I think Drago's past that already. He's not the same after his losses to Gain, Blades, Lewis. I think those took, a pretty big toll on him. And it looks like, oh yeah, I do remember he lost to Chick Congo back in Bellator.
Oh yeah.
So
that's where the theory came from. Like, there's a certain theory here that this tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy loses to a certain African persuasion.
Yeah, so I think he's, brother Tom is going to have that advantage going in, and I think he's going to catch him. I think the crowd, they're going to, get him really going, and I think they're going to not feel each other up, but feel each other out for a couple minutes, and then Tom's going to come in. Tom's not one to shy away from a fight, so he's not going to sit there, unlike today's lame-ass main event where, what's his name, Ankalaev didn't go in for a takedown, didn't, bring the pressure, but he still got the decision, which was kind of lame. Santos is just kind of hoping not to
he's
lose
old,
at
dude.
this point.
Yeah. Luckily, I cashed that one out, baby. Actually,
so I think
I was gonna say just quickly, when Magomed won, I went to the casino, cashed out, almost put all my winnings on Mads Burnell, and I'm like, don't be fucking stupid. Luckily, I did not. So,
did Mads win?
no, he fucking lost. He looked like, from what I saw in the glimpses, he was getting fucking beat everywhere, dude.
I thought you were betting on. I thought you were betting on Borix.
No. I didn't trust Borix, but he looked fucking phenomenal tonight. So good on him.
I would have said, yeah, don't bet on something you're gonna feel like once he loses.
Yeah.
So you're gonna feel very mad, after that loss.
But one thing I wanted to bring up, because when you brought up how Tom is the biggest and the blackest in this card, what's funny about that is, like, for whatever reason, I was associating black, the name black or the color black, with Tom Aspinall, and it kind of hit me. I'm like, oh shit, you might be onto something. That'd be a good nickname, because there's a comic book character named Black Tom Cassidy, and he kind of looks like Tom Aspinall. He has the same type of goatee, so that might be the reason why I'm like, hey, you might be onto something. Black Tom Aspinall. I like it. So guaranteed, this black guy is going to beat Volkov, who is known to lose to elite black fellows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to kind of give him an edge even before the fight begins, I think he should just change, not change his nickname, but establish his nickname as just Big Black. And then everybody's going to be like, oh, man, I don't know if I want to go against the...
I mean, what are they going to do? What are they going to fucking say about Tom Aspinall? Like, you don't want to get big... Just like fucking, what's his name? Brendan Schaub was Big Brown. Can't fuck with Big Black.
Well, Big Brown, I always thought of him as like, like when you like eat a bunch of meat, several days in a row, and then you're like, I'm not feeling too good, and then you eat like, some like a few apples and a few pears, and then you're like, oh, watch out, I got a brown submarine on the way, dive, and it's like, oh, Brendan Schaub.
That makes more sense why he's Big Brown.
Yeah, that's why. I don't know if that made any sense, but essentially,
he's shit.
Yeah.
So wait, let's get back on track. So you've got Tom Aspinall just being bigger and blacker.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like that Chris. What's his name? Chris. What's that black comedian's name?
Chris Tucker.
No, Chris. He comes out in. Where does he even come out in? Damn, Chris. Hey, let me Google him.
I'm not gonna say Chris Farley. Oh, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. There you go. Yeah,
Oh.
it's like he's like funny enough, Chris Rock is like the black. Shit, what's that white comedian's name? He's
Chris Farley.
no. He's like always squinting and he shouts a lot.
Squinting
he played the parrot in Aladdin.
Oh, Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Chris Rock
shit.
is the black Gilbert Godfrey. That's just trying to.
I know we're getting off topic here, but if you guys like comedy, there's a bit from Gilbert Godfrey where he's roasting George Takei, and I always have it in the back of my head because it's basically telling like old gay jokes to George Takei, like very simple ones, like shit you've heard before. And then, funny enough, he explains it, but he tells one about a guy who got he's tied up to a tree, and the country sheriff from the South is like, "What happened to you, man?" He's like, "I got robbed, and they took my clothes, and they tied me like hugging a tree." And then the country sheriff is like, "Oh boy, this is not your lucky day," as he starts taking his pants off. And he's explaining, he's like, "Oh, George over here." He's like, "What's not to like? You get fucked by a big Southern fucking sheriff." It's like, how could you not like it? So I think about that shit all the fucking time. Oh shit, it's very funny. Look it up.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of a Norm Macdonald joke that I'll save for another occasion.
Oh,
I think that's maybe a little bit more appropriate.
Yeah, I love me some Norm. But let's get back on track. We talked about, hey, we got to hurry up and do this shit, and here we are talking about comedians. But anything to add before we go into the parlays?
No, that's pretty much all I have to add. I think Volkov's on a downward trajectory. Aspinall's on his way up, and yeah, that's all I see for the main event.
As for possible parlays, I've got a 5-team parlay here that I like, but I might alternate it a bit. I've got Mike Grundy, I've got Mokaev, I've got Nathaniel Wood, who might be my anchor this week, Paddy Pimblett, which if he cashes me out, baby, I took some advice and I started doing some like multi-week parlays, and so far, if he cashes out, I'd be making about like a 400% increase in whatever profit. So yeah, Nathaniel Wood, Paddy Pimblett, Tom Aspinall. So those 5 guys, it is plus 694. So give me a round number, $20 gets you $138 profit. I like those guys. I might take Grundy out. I might take for the fuck of it, I might take Aspinall out just because it might be too close. If we've got Mokaev, we've got Nathaniel Wood and Paddy Pimblett, that is plus 129. I like that a little bit more just to be safe. I might put a couple units on that, but those are my picks. What are you thinking? I don't have Gunnar Nelson listed, so if you're picking Gunnar Nelson,
my picks are Aspinall, Allen, Shamil. Actually, no, forget Shamil. So Aspinall, Allen, Pimblett, Gunnar, Meatball. I'm taking Jack Shore, Ilya, and Nathaniel Wood. So I have those. Those are my 8 picks.
Let's see, where the fuck is Jack Shore? Jack Shore's at plus money. So I've got. You said Nathaniel Wood. Okay.
Yeah, Wood, Topuria, Shore. What else did I say?
Aspinall, Allen,
Meatball.
Yeah,
Meatball. Even though, let's say Meatballs probably should be at like the very. She could still lose. It's women's MMA. So.
Of course. But with those 7, because I don't have Gunnar Nelson yet listed on my little prop builder here. Those 7 guys gets you 7 guys and gal. Well, I guess guys. McKenn's a lesbian, so I'll count that. That's another reason she's going to win. She's going to be more lesbian. And we've got those people plus 3,635. Let's just do $1,000 gets you 3,635 and 4 cents. Those 4 cents will help. And you can always play around with that. This card, though, if you go heavy with the European guys, I think you'll be safe. Just with the props, not the props, I'm sorry, but with the decision. I do like certain props, like for example, Nathaniel Wood by a decision. I think I like that. Paddy Pimblett inside the distance. We've got who else? There was more guy. That guy Gunnar Nelson by submission. I love. I might blast that. Mokaev by submission is probably where I'm going to go with, and I think that might be it. You might go with a couple people with like Molly McCann with a decision or over 2.5. I think that's for sure. Elise Reed, I like straight at plus 175. I think she pulls out that decision out of her ass. And then inside the distance for the heavyweight Russian matchup between the, I guess, young Sergey Pavlovich and the older Shamil. But yeah, those are my possible props on that end. But we'll see what happens. I'm trying to be a little bit more careful. Like I made a profit tonight. I made like about 5 or so unit profit. So I'll take that. Actually, probably a little bit less than that. I'll be honest. But like honestly, like maybe a 3 unit profit. But I'm gonna be a little bit more smart about my prop betting. Like, oh, one final thing. I did mention last week and in the video description that if Bruno Silva and Alex Pereira went the distance, I'd have to cut my balls off. Well, luckily, I counted that as a standing TKO for Alex Pereira in the 3rd round. So fuck you, I'm not cutting my balls off. It ain't happening. But anything you want to add, Jose, before we go?
No, not really. And I think it's actually not a bad idea. I hadn't considered it previously.
Off?
No, not well. What I'm talking about is like doing interweek, interweek plays, meaning not doing a parlay for the same week, but doing, taking big. Well, it would have been this week's card, but taking a fighter from this week's card and parlaying it with next week's card. That way, you know what I mean. If you do a bunch of, because what I would lose is like, oh, I had let's see, who's that Brazilian girl with the weird eyes that.
You got to be more specific than that, dude.
It's she used to speak English. Now she's speaks with a Brazilian accent.
Mackenzie Dernch.
Yeah, so it's like having Mackenzie Dernch in all 12 of your parlays. You're like, oh, most of them won except her. You know what I mean? Having that kind of ruins your night for sure. Even if it's like $1 parlays, still it's like it stinks. So I think it'd probably be a better idea to like, pick 5 fighters from one card, pick 5 fighters from the other, and then just match them up, week to week, from one week to the next, instead of on the same card. That way, if one guy loses, it doesn't mess up all your parlays.
Well, yeah, dude.
It's still risky, but
I was going to tell you in the Discord, dude, Tatooine Dream, he kind of wisened me up to that. He was like killing it with those, and I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, I used to do that shit too, but when I bet online, and I didn't really do it going to the casino. And then the last time I went to the casino, I'm like, holy shit, they finally have multi-weeks of, bets and shit listed. I'm like, I'm going to go for it. So if it wasn't really for him, I wouldn't have thought of it. But I'll tell you who I had in this parlay. I started with Kobe Covington. Who else? Umar Nurmagomedov, Kevin Holland. All those won. Azamat Mirzakhanov. Nathaniel Wood back when he was supposed to fight Ludovic Shalinian, but that it's a void. Miranda Maverick, and then Paddy Pimblett. So if Paddy cashes me out, it's going to be a good night. So
that's good.
I might start doing that in the future, just kind of waiting, being a little bit patient, cherry picking. But yeah, follow the Discord to see some pretty good insight from some pretty good bettors.
Oh, interesting. I might start doing that too.
Yeah,
I might start following the Discord.
If Paddy Pimblett fucks me, then we've got a new closing argument out here. Fuck Paddy Pimblett. But we'll leave it there, dude. That's been Johnny and Jose breaking down Volkov versus Aspinall. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, follow the Discord. It's pretty. I love the Discord, really. Although there's like a couple people that are active on it. Fucking awesome. I love it. Instagram, Twitter, all that shit. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. Johnny Jose, TigerBomb MMA. Catch you next week. But as always, fuck Holberg.